Yeah, we are talking about a parade today. No, not a parade. No, a parade. A planet parade. Where do you... No, you don't go any place to see it. Well, you won't be able to see it. Why? Yeah, it's a parade. Why is it a parade? I don't know why it's a parade. Later. All right. Some people you just can't talk to. Hey, how are you? This is Season 5 on a beautiful day. Season 5, Episode 12 of Niagara 411 Live with Sterry. We are fueled by Gales Gas Powers. We are powered by WeeStreem. We are joined by all of the street members here at 149 St. Paul Street in St. Catharines as we get ready to do the show from Fiddler's Poorhouse. We are also powered by Sandra's Home Healthcare, Verge Insurance Group, as well as Ace Alignment and Equal Wellness Services. There, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, are your specials for today. We got wings, we got poutine, we got pitchers, we got doubles, we got pickles, we got Burt Reynolds. I have no idea what that is. Okay, so we were talking about the, with my staff there, talking about the Planet Parade. It's a parade that's happening, but you won't be able to see it. How exciting is that? Actually, it's kind of a cool story. We're going to be Scott Sutherland in from the Weather Network to talk about that. It's sort of a celestial thing. All right, so that's coming up. Also, I don't know if he's going to be able to talk to us about this, but the Weather Network's summer forecast came out for Ontario and, well, the entire country, as a matter of fact, today. As I understand it, it's supposed to be kind of hot and steamy, so we'll see if Scott can fill us in a little bit on that. Do you remember last week, well, not last week, the last show, we talked about Charlie, the missing tortoise. Do you remember the story about Charlie? We didn't know whether Charlie had been taken from the backyard. We didn't know whether he had escaped from the backyard. The only thing you can be pretty sure of that a tortoise didn't run away. Might have kind of shuffled away, but we have an update on Charlie. We're going to revisit, and a bunch of other stuff coming up today. A local swimmer has qualified for the 2024 Paris Olympics. A gal out of Port Colborne. That's pretty cool, so we're going to be talking to her. Lots of stuff coming up in about 30 seconds. Stay with us. Here we be. A little slow getting there. I'm all plugged in now and ready to rock and roll. There, ladies and gentlemen, is a shot. That is the fancy schmancy Hollywood-inspired set of Niagara 411 Live. How you doing with Sterry? That other fancy gentleman on the right-hand side of your screen is the co-founder of WeeStreem, Canada's premier streaming service, and executive producer of this here shindig that we call Niagara 411 Live with Sterry, Season 5, Episode 12. And welcome to ye old programming. It's fabulous to have you here. And we have a beautiful, beautiful spring day, late spring day in Niagara after torrential. I was going to say horrential. I don't think that's a word, horrential. Torrential rains over the last 24 hours. So if you've been planting since the Victoria Day weekend or over the Victoria Day weekend, your plants and buds and grass and everything got a good gulp of water. That is for sure. And as we mentioned, coming up on the program today at about 10 after 1 is Port Colborne swimmer who qualified for the 2024 Paralympic Games in France coming up this summer. That is kind of cool. And of course, we are fueled by Gales Gas Bars. We have Sandra's Home Healthcare we're going to be talking about. We have Verge Insurance Group, Ace Alignment, as well as Equal Wellness Services. And we're going to have Scott Sutherland on about 12:30 today to talk about mainly planet stuff, because he's the head dude as far as a science writer is concerned at the Weather Network. And I reached out to him yesterday because the internet's been going crazy about this thing. We're going to find out more about it. It's not going to be that big a deal in the short term. And also, pro boxer James Bad News Hughes. He's fighting on Saturday at Niagara Falls Convention Center. So he's going to be joining us as well, and to tell us about his career, where he is, what he's doing, why he's doing it, and how things are going for him. So yeah, Emma Van Dyke is the Brock swimmer. Really looking forward to talking with Emma today. And Chris Dabrowski is going to be joining us in just mere moments. And of course, he is the driving force behind Niagara Comic-Con that is coming up next weekend, not this weekend, next weekend, 7th to 9th here in Niagara. So, Kevin, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Lee.
Yeah. Where were you going to go? You wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just want
to contribute to this shindig here?
I do. I just want to encourage people to share the program.
And that's what we want to do.
I'm going to walk you through how you do it.
I told you to remind me to do that.
That's what I'm doing now.
And you're doing it right now. That's great.
So here we are on the regular Niagara 411 page.
So here I am.
Most of you are right now.
I'm doing it right now.
And then you see there's the post, and here we are looking back in time. There we are about 30 seconds ago.
Right.
And you just click the share button right there. This will pop up, and all you have to do is say share now, public.
Oh, I want to share. I'm doing that myself. There we go.
If you click write post, that allows you to put some fancy words in there. Hey, guys, I really like watching this show on Niagara 411. It's called Niagara 411 Live with Sterry. I think you should give it. But anyway.
Yep, public, done.
Share now.
Boom. There we go. Share now. I did it.
Done.
I'm obviously a technological genius. So that's what I wanted Kevin to do. I said, before we went on the air, walk us through that process again so I don't forget to do it. And while we're talking about that, it's a smooth segue into something that Kevin and I are, frankly, fairly blown away about. It was just 2 weeks ago that we did this show the last time. It was episode 11 of season 12. And Kevin, since we did the original show, which runs about an hour and a half, which today's show will do, it'll run about 90 minutes or so, we, over the course of a couple of weeks, post, in case you missed it, segments of the program. So we'll take one of the interviews, one of the segments, for example, one we did with Brittany Love, who runs events all over Niagara and ran an event this past week at Hernders Winery, etc., and other people that so we'll take a segment and we'll put that up on its own and let it stand there for folks to have a look in case they missed it on the full show. And when we add all of these things up, there's Brittany there. Brittany's piece alone, see there? Brittany's piece alone on the last show between then and now was played and viewed and seen by 21,000, almost 22,000 people. Hello. For anybody that knows anything about social media, that's a pretty good number.
Yeah, I mean, you add all this up, Lee, and last week's show generated more than 75,000 views. More than
75,000 views. So we thank you for that. We really do appreciate your support. Also want to give a tip of the hat to Nick at Niagara 411. He's the driving force behind the actual Facebook page of Niagara 411. We, every couple of weeks, take some of Nick's content and some of your contributions and some of our own in-depth reporting skills. Ha ha.
Oh, and this,
yeah.
Right there, 4 shares. All right, people are listening.
Already.
Thank you very much.
We've had 4 shares already.
Thank you very much. Let's get that shares up there.
It really is awesome because the crux of the matter is what our mandate is. What our mandate is from the very point that Kevin sort of conceived of this concept was to connect Niagara. All about Niagara. Sometimes we'll dip our toe in a pond outside the peninsula, but very, very rarely. It's about Niagara, for Niagara, by Niagarans, and to connect Niagarans about things that are important to us here in the region. So We really do thank you for that participation. It's gratifying, and it supports the fact that, hey, we might want to continue to do this thing. Plus, it does help our sponsors feel a little bit more comfortable with supporting the program with their wallets and purses, and we appreciate that. So there we go. Pretty cool, Kevin. Congratulations, because the embryo of this initiative started back in the COVID days, when everybody that provided a service, especially provided a service that involved public gatherings such as WeeStreem, it's like, okay, now maybe we have to reinvent ourselves. What are we doing here? We need to still put food on the table. We want to run a viable business, and COVID has kind of kicked everybody in the butt, and that was basically the genesis of this, what has evolved into this, what we're doing today. And we thank you for your support and helping it grow and helping it be effective in doing what we want to do, and that is connect Niagarans to Niagarans. Now, as I mentioned off the top, one of the stories we did a couple of weeks ago was about Charlie. Charlie the tortoise. What did we call him? A sulcatan?
Something like that. Here, let's see what she says. A sulcata.
Sulcata, that's what it was, yeah.
An African spur-thighed sulcata.
Yeah, so what we thought at the time, from the information that we had, was the fact that Charlie was a domestic pet. However, since then, Charlie's still missing, by the way. Since then, we have learned that this lady and her family run a tortoise rescue operation in the Shirkston area, Highway 3, and almost 3 weeks ago now. Here's more detail, African spur-thighed sulcata. Tortoise, Charlie, 50 pounds.
Hey, Charlie can move there. I mean, take a look at him. He can move.
2 by 2. Yeah, very much loved. They're offering now a $500 reward for Charlie's safe return. And so the family obviously would really like him back. What we did not know was the fact that this was a tortoise sanctuary. It's a tortoise rescue place. And frankly, I was telling Kevin before we went on the air, and I don't think he would have gone this far, but I was playing golf in Welland and saw a tortoise on the fairway of one of the golf courses. It was Cardinal Lakes golf course. So, I mean, sanctuary folks, if you think Charlie could walk all the way from Shirkston to Welland, I don't know, but I saw it, and I tried to get a picture of him, but he actually, you kid about turtles being slow. All kidding aside, when I got even within maybe 20 yards of him, he booked it. He went crazy and jumped into the water, jumped into a pond. Hence the golf course is called Cardinal Lakes, so what would you expect? But, and he jumped, but he looked a lot like this guy, and he was big. And he was taking his time, kind of sunning himself, walking across the fairway of this golf hole, and then all of a sudden, into the water. But he looked a lot like Charlie. So,
what are you telling me, that he looked a lot like Charlie?
He looked a lot like Charlie. I wanted to get a picture of him, but he was gone before I could get it.
Are you here telling me that all tortoises look the same to you, Lee?
No, I wouldn't be that misogynistic.
I can't believe what you just said.
I don't believe all tortoises look alike. I'm just saying there was a family resemblance, maybe.
Now, what was the tortoise doing dead center of the fairway?
Trying to throw me under the bus again here, aren't you?
Well, why was the tortoise on the fairway, Lee?
I don't know. Why did the chicken cross the road? Nobody knows. It was just there.
But you were on the fairway.
I was on the fairway. But my ball was in the water, which is why I was walking close to the tortoise.
And you're telling me he looked like this guy right here?
He looked like that guy.
Now,
he did.
On Crystal's page,
he did.
She has a lot of people. Like, look, Lori says,
big ass turtle crossing the road. I go to take his picture, and he hides. Well, yeah, they're shy. That's why they have a shell. They turtle.
Yeah, I guess that's where the term comes from, right?
And yeah, but duh. Thanks, Kevin, for that.
Trying to keep everybody up to speed, Lee.
Right,
We move pretty quick.
Yeah, okay.
So here's somebody else say, there you go, Whiskey Run Golf Course. Were you at Whiskey Run?
No, but Whiskey Run is in Port Colborne, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So here you go. Hi, Crystal. I saw a tortoise.
All right. And the guy that I was with, the people that I were with, called it a snapper. Look at that big snapper. Now, I don't know whether it was a snapper or whether it was a Charlie.
I don't know. I mean, was this looks like the Whiskey Run. So here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go, Lee. Does this Whiskey Run tortoise look like Charlie in the middle?
No, not really. No, they're not alike. You're trying to drag me into a tortoise race discussion, and I'm not going to be dragged into that conversation. I'm not going to be dragged into being a biased tortoise lover. No, I'm not going there. I'm just saying, the one I saw in Welland had a resemblance to Charlie. They could have been from the same evolutionary tree, if you will. I can see this is going to be a difficult show for us, Kevin. I would like to just get away from that before I get labeled too heavily into this tortoise debate, to take a moment to talk about our sponsors, Gales Gas Bars, fueling Niagara for well over 50 years and probably well into the 50-year future to come, a 3-generation business. And you can find out all about them by going to, it's a very simple spot, gales.ca. Home heating fuels and transportation fuels and whatever petroleum needs you have, a one-stop shop here in Niagara. Sandra's Home Healthcare, we also appreciate your support here. And Sandra's Home Healthcare sets itself apart by providing dignified personal care assistance to those faced with the inability to maintain their personal hygiene requirements on their own. There's showering assistance, there's personal hygiene and dressing assistance, incontinence support in whatever location that it is required, be it in a long-term care facility, in the hospital, in your home, and they'll also make sure that that transition from hospital to home is as smooth as possible. Sandra's Home Healthcare, please check them out. Burge Insurance Group, thank you very much for staying with us for all of this time. Auto, home, business, life insurance, whatever your insurance needs, Burge Insurance Group is the brokers that can help you find what you need at the price you can afford. Located once again right here in St. Catharines, just a stone's throw away over here on Ontario Street. So check them out. Ace Alignment, thank you very, very, very much also for hanging in there with us. Owner Janice Pretty has been a family business for a long time. Head mechanic Darren Miller, senior mechanic Matt Crompton for wheel alignments and brakes and suspension and front end repairs and oil changes and servicing all makes and models and trucks and cars and all things in between. Inspections if you need them. Ace Alignment just over on North Street behind the police station. That's located on Welland at Geneva. They're on North Street, just right behind there. Small place, but tucked in behind great knowledge of what they are doing. And of course, we have Equal Wellness Services. Audrey Wall, the foot nurse, she has this brand new clinic operation that she has over there. And of course, all of the foot care that you have come to be familiar with Audrey Wall, the foot nurse here in St. Catharines, has expanded her business. And actually, there is room in there. She's wanted me to pass this message on to you. I was chatting with her the other day, and she mentioned the fact that she has office space there for other health practitioners, like a reflexologist or a naturopath, homeopath, dermatologist. That's the kind of health practitioner that she's looking to attract into her business, where she has all of the space newly renovated. It's a beautiful spot. So if you know somebody, or if you are somebody in those categories, by all means, check her out. They're on Vine Street between Scott and Carlton. Basically it's a healthcare oriented plaza, 365 Vine Street. All right.
Lee, just before we get to Chris Dabrowski here, very anxious to talk about Niagara Falls Comic-Con. This thing just keeps getting bigger every single year. And the lineup The lineup this year is just incroyable. I want to get to that.
Incroyable?
But also friends of, I know, Janice Purdy down there at Ace Alignment and personal friends of myself. Saturday night is Ivan Little night. Down at Merrittville Speedway.
Yes.
And here we go. DDL and Company is excited to offer 1,000 exclusive keychains to the first 1,000 fans in attendance. Visit the T-shirt table conveniently located about the pit gate and front gate. Don't miss out. So it's, there we go. Good work.
And actually, Ace Alignment and Janice's family goes way back with Merrittville Speedway. Long time association with that facility. As a matter of fact, it's through that connection that she met her husband, Eric Thomas, who just retired after 41 years of doing Raceline radio across the country and various affiliates. So Eric and Janice and Ace Alignment and Merrittville, they all go back a long way. So I have a little memorial on this Saturday. Very cool. And so again, thank you to Ace Alignment for being a part of this program. So yeah, if you want more information about also be you a reflexologist, naturopath, homeopath, dermatologist, somebody that falls into that sort of natural health sciences services sort of thing, just contact Equal Wellness Services, okay? And Audrey Wall would love to chat with you. All right, as Kevin mentioned, it's becoming bigger and bigger, and well, it's about as mammoth as it could probably get now. Is Niagara Comic-Con. Chris Dabrowski joins us on the program right now. Chris is the driving force, of course, behind the Niagara Comic-Con. And Chris, before we get to that, this is the first time we've had a chance to chat since you had that devastating break-in and burglary and theft at your offices a number of months ago. Give us an update as to how you're doing. I know you're in a new location and it looks like you're doing great, but bring us up to date.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking. It was last November, I believe, when...
Is that how far it was now, in November?
It was, it was that far back. And, walking into the office with my morning coffee and seeing that door drilled out and all the merchandise stolen, totaling, I think the final tally was over $300,000. But we've been afforded some blessings and we were able to move locations. We're in the Fallsview district now, and we've bounced back. Funny enough, a lot of the celebrities that we bring to Comic-Con that we built relationships with over the years had reached out to us. They see what happened in the news and on Facebook, and they kind of helped out with some autographed merchandise that we were able to sell and get back up on our feet. And with Comic-Con coming next week, that helps to feed the Icon machine as well. So it kind of all works in unison. But yeah, it was heartbreaking, but we bounced back, and yeah, we're happy in our new location at 6455 Fallsview Boulevard. Yeah,
which is a wonderful location now when you think about the number of celebrities and stars and I guess here's an overused word, but I'll say iconic Comic-Con type personalities that pass through that area. You've pretty much got it covered there, don't you?
Yeah, we're lucky that during COVID, when life gave us lemons, we made lemonade, and Icon autographs built out of COVID. And we took over a show in Buffalo, New York last year, Nickel City Con as well. So we're kind of taking an East Coast approach, and we do we do Comic-Con in Hamilton, we do one here in Niagara Falls, Canada, and now we do one in Buffalo as well in Western New York. So it's been quite a ride through COVID and after COVID, and now we get back into our tourist season here in Niagara Falls, and it's getting busier and busier in the city, so we know what's coming.
So I would think that by now, as we watch the numbers grow year after year, that the Niagara Falls Comic-Con has got to be one of the premier events on that circuit over the course of any given year.
I would say it's safe to say we're Canada's second biggest. The one in Toronto, Fan Expo, draws over 100,000. But between Ottawa and Montreal and Vancouver and Calgary and Buffalo, Niagara Falls is definitely one of the biggest in Canada, one of the biggest in North America. It draws over 25,000 people. And when you get names like Chevy Chase coming into the city for Comic-Con, you know you've made it. So yeah, it's grown leaps and bounds since 2011.
And we'll talk about the event itself in a minute, but one of the things too that I saw in the media, not directly related to Comic-Con, but related to Niagara Falls in particular, is even though the eclipse, when it took place, happened on kind of a cloudy day, and it was not the visual spectacle that you might have wanted to see if you were on site, the impact on social media and news media, traditional media, non-traditional media, social media, like all around, I think there was something like, I can't remember the exact figure, but there was something like more than a couple of $1 billion worth of free advertising that Niagara Falls received around the world over the last year because of that eclipse. So that's got to help all kinds of folks like you.
You cannot, my background's public relations PR. I've been pitching media outlets for a lot of years. You cannot buy that sort of advertising. That sort of organic advertising that comes in out of once in a lifetime historic events like that one, whether it be 50,000, 100,000, 300,000 people that came into the city for that eclipse, there's no doubt, like you said, millions of dollars in brand awareness.
Well, I've heard billions.
Billions. I believe it. It was probably the most talked about event since I can remember here within the city, and people from Toronto were talking about it all across Canada, across North America.
Yeah.
So you can't buy that kind of advertising. What it does for the city is it just creates awareness of how beautiful Niagara Falls really is and how lucky we are to have that as our backdrop here in the city.
And it's kind of what Kevin and I talk about with WeeStream, for example. It's not necessarily how many feet are on the ground in the spot. It's how many impressions that you're able to make around the world by streaming these things and by hearing about these things that really leaves its mark. So I just thought that was because I mentioned it only because of your background in marketing and public relations, that's got to be a huge thing for you.
It's huge. It's huge for us. It's huge for the city. And when you bring in names like Chevy Chase, Comic-Con, not that it advertises itself, but we're lucky when you bring in household names like Peter Weller, who played RoboCop, and Robert Patrick, who played in Terminator 2, and Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo. When those sort of names are coming into the city, and we're lucky. I mean, Bev D'Angelo, I think this is going to be, and for those watching and listening, Bev D'Angelo, of course, Ellen Griswold.
Absolutely. Oh, right? Clark.
Oh, Clark. Or what was his nickname?
Clark.
What was his nickname? No, it wasn't Clark. It was, what was it?
Oh, his nickname?
Yeah, there's a pet name. I forget what it was.
Yeah, you're killing me now. I can't.
I write Kevin's. Google it, Kevin. But
we'll think of it. But
either way, Bev D'Angelo, we were on the phone for about an hour last week because she doesn't do a lot of these comic conventions.
Right.
Ours will be only her 6th of all time, and the only reason she's coming is because she's never seen Niagara Falls.
There you go.
And so we're lucky. We're lucky that that fans and tourists that come into the city can kind of come to Comic-Con, enjoy the city as well, and events like the Eclipse just further generate awareness for the town.
So, Chris, walk us through the nuts and bolts now of this year's Comic-Con. What do you got, Kevin?
Sparky,
that's what it was. Oh, Sparky. Poor Sparky.
All right, now that we got that out of the way,
exactly.
That'll be an earworm now for the rest of the day. Walk us through the show.
It's the biggest event in the city by far. You mentioned Maryville Speedway. By the way, there's my daughter at Maryville last week or the week before. She won a bike at their event. And
nice.
For those watching and listening, if you haven't been to Maryville, whether or not you have children, it's great for kids, but it's a heck of an event. And
it's fun.
It's so much fun. People were tailgating, barbecuing in the parking lot.
Now they have great pizza there too, don't they?
Pizza, hot dogs.
I think they got a great restaurant there. Okay, go for it. Tell us about it.
Comic-Con, though, 200,000 square feet of all things pop culture. So if you can imagine, for 3 days, the convention center turns into a pop culture haven of costumes, celebrities, comic books, superheroes, movie cars like Sparky's car from the Christmas Vacation series. You name it, there's so much to see and do, whether you're into Star Wars or Harry Potter, whether you're a huge fan, whether you're a casual fan. There's something for all ages. If you haven't been to one before, it's something you definitely should check out.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling through some of the celebrity guests
I
here.
was just going to mention that that's what
And
Kevin's doing.
I can't believe you talk about the younger audience. You got Shameik Moore coming in from these Spider-Verse movies, and these are absolute blockbusters.
Yeah.
This guy's huge with the demographic.
Shameik, voice actor as Miles Morales into the Spider-Verse series. I think there's 2 movies now. He's filmed the 3rd. They've already greenlit a 4th. I mean, yeah, Shameik Moore, household name for the younger fans that attend Comic-Con. He doesn't do many of these things. Again, he's on set right now in Atlanta. He just had to cancel 2 appearances because of production going a little later, but we're lucky that production wraps up this weekend, and he'll be with us next weekend.
One of the things that I like to do when I'm having a conversation like this, Chris, is try to ask questions that maybe people might have taken for granted. And one of those is, for somebody that may have never been to a Comic-Con style event, what happens at Comic-Con? What do you expect? If you've never gone to one in your life and you want to show up at one, what happens? What is it like?
You're in awe. Your head's spinning, because in one corner you might see Chevy Chase walking to the green room. In another corner you might see Donatello and Raphael from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles walking around taking photos with fans. In another corner you might see a Doc Brown cosplayer standing beside a DeLorean that's decked out as a time machine in Back to the Future. There's collectibles. It's all about either reliving your youth or celebrating what pop culture is today. It's a celebration.
And you can actually interact with these people and have conversations with them.
We do. We have the real life Peter Griffin, who's on TikTok. He has 3 million followers, and his claim to fame is he looks, sounds, and dresses like Peter Griffin from Family Guy, and he's walking around interacting with people, acting like he's Peter Griffin, taking free selfies with fans. You'll probably make sure your cell phone's charged, because every walkway and aisleway that you're walking through, there's always something to see and do, and people are constantly, I see this all day, people on their phone taking pictures, taking video, and smiling.
And it's not like you're not allowed. You can take pictures and you can take videos and all that stuff.
It is. It's a community inclusive environment. It's a safe place where people they can dress up as their favorite superheroes and costumes and interact with people. And we're blessed too to have about 300 volunteers that help us each year at the event.
Wow.
And it's family, and they come together, and they only see each other once or twice a year, and that's at this comic convention, and it's fun for everybody. It's fun.
Okay, before we let you go, let's do rates and dates now.
June 7th, 8th, and 9th. Tickets available online or at the door, nfcomiccon.com. Niagara Falls Convention Center, Niagara Falls, Canada, 6815 Stanley Avenue. Get there early, wear comfortable shoes, charge your cell phone.
What is it going to cost me?
Tickets start at $30 on Friday. Then they go up with weekend tickets, or I think $80 to $100, and there's VIP speed passes, etc. So it's affordable for the average family, and for the super fan, you could spend a little bit more to have that much better of an experience.
Chris Dabrowski, thank you very, very much for joining us. Good luck with the the event. I don't think you need luck anymore. I think it's just it's always a great success, but hopefully it is one more time. Glad to see you guys back on your feet after that crappy November, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, bud?
Thanks, Lee. See you, Kevin.
See ya. All right, big event coming around. And again, after a business goes through what they went through last November with that break-in and so much other inventory stolen, irreplaceable inventory. I mean, it's not like somebody steals a pair of shoes. You can't just order another pair and have them brought in. The stuff that they lost was irreplaceable. And as they say, priceless in most cases. Kevin, we have Scott Sutherland waiting in the wings here, and he's been probably waiting for a few minutes. Scott Sutherland is, of course, a meteorologist and the head science writer at the Weather Network. And the Weather Network is, been in the news an awful lot lately, but let's say hi, first of all, to Scott. Mr. Sutherland, thank you once again on such short notice for coming on the program. How you doing?
Yeah, no problem, Lee. Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you very much. Now, before we get to the parade that isn't going to be a parade,
yeah,
just as your last article said on the Weather Network, but it's kind of cool anyway. Tell us, because we haven't talked to you since, because the last time we talked to you, it was pre-eclipse.
Yeah.
And you were going to maybe be in Niagara, but you weren't sure because it all depended on cloud cover and all. So what was your eclipse day? I think I know what it was, but tell us what your eclipse day was.
So the day before, myself, storm hunter Mark Robinson, and our camera person and our social media representative all drove out to Cornwall.
Cornwall?
And then we stay overnight there so that we could have a chance the next morning to sort of figure out exactly where the clouds were going to be,
right,
or where the skies were going to be clearest. And that ended up being south of Montreal. So we drove further east, went south of Montreal, found a nice place to set up, and streamed from there. And it was a beautiful day there. There was a nice high pressure ridge right over the Montreal sort of corridor there in southern Quebec. And so a few wispy clouds off to the west, but we had a nice clear day the whole time. And
so it was a cool experience for you.
It was. I still have difficulty finding the right word to describe it. I've seen the one in 2017. This was. They're all unique, right? So just because you've seen one doesn't mean that the others lose any magic.
Right.
It was magical. It was like seeing the eclipse again was amazing. Yeah. And I'm really sorry that Niagara was all clouded over. I wanted to film from southern Niagara.
I know you did, because I know that was your original plan, and of course, but I mean, being tied in with the Weather Network, you obviously have all the latest information on where it's going to be cloudy and where it isn't. So you got to go. You got to go where the show is, right?
Yeah, that's the thing is we kind of made a commitment to get to where it was going to be clear, so that we could present it to everybody who wouldn't be able to see it.
One of the things that I found was interesting, even though we only caught glimpses of it, it was still interesting because on my street, I live in a little circle, and while all the neighbors know each other, it's not like we get together every day and like grab coffee or whatever. But on that particular day, everybody in the little neighborhood that I live in was standing in the middle of the street, talking to each other, looking up, and kind of having a good old-fashioned barn dance kind of thing.
Yeah, it brought everybody together.
It brought people together.
Too. Yeah, as incredible as what was going on in the sky, the camaraderie, I guess, you know, the community that we were experiencing here on the ground was great.
So to quote your article that was on the Weather Network site, because this is what you do. You write about astronomical events and things to come, etc. Your quote says, there's been a lot of talk on the internet about the so-called rare planetary alignment that's supposed to be coming up in early June. However, don't believe the hype. People are calling it the Planet Parade. So quickly tell us what it is and why it's, for us, not a big deal.
Right. So on June 3rd, on the morning of June 3rd, there will be 6 planets lined up all on one side of the sun from our perspective.
Okay.
The moon will also be right along with them, so you'll have 7 objects all lined up above the eastern horizon that morning. The problem, and this has gotten a lot of hype. It started at like late April, and it's just gained momentum since then. The unfortunate part is that I present an image of that on the article that shows all those objects lined up.
We've been showing it while you're talking.
And the problem is that if you add in a very important aspect, which is Earth's atmosphere, it washes the entire thing out because it happens so close to dawn. This happens just before sunrise, that the morning twilight is already lighting up the sky. The whole eastern horizon is bright at that point, and we just won't see it, unfortunately. If you're up before morning twilight, you can have a chance to see 2 planets and the moon together.
Okay.
Which is Saturn will be the one farthest west, then the moon and Mars.
Okay.
And if you have a telescope or a really good pair of binoculars, you might see Neptune as well between the moon and Saturn.
But we're talking early, very early in the morning.
Yeah, like 4 in the morning kind of thing. And that's once things start going, so there are 2 of the members of this parade, Neptune and Uranus. Those, you can only see them with a telescope or with a good pair of binoculars. So
Okay.
they're not normally visible with the unaided eye.
But all is not lost.
So you wouldn't see them anyway.
But all is not lost here, because there is a period that we will be able to see this so-called planetary parade, right?
Right. We just have to wait a little bit. So those planets, those 5 planets, 6 planets that are lined up, it's Mercury, Jupiter, Uranus, Mars, Neptune, and Saturn.
Okay.
So really only Venus is out of the loop there, and Earth, because
Who needs Venus?
we're watching from here. And so those will keep rising earlier and earlier throughout June.
Okay.
So right around so we'll always see Mars and Saturn with the naked eye before dawn. You have a telescope or binoculars, you can see Neptune. Uranus will start rising earlier so that it will crest the horizon earlier in the night, so maybe you'll be able to see that as well. And then on July 15th, Jupiter will pop up above the horizon before twilight begins. So you'll be able to see that bright planet
Before
as well.
twilight. Okay.
Yeah. So these planets will all keep rising earlier and earlier. And then right around the 27th, the moon comes back around into the eastern sky. And you'll see the moon, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Mars, Uranus, Jupiter.
And I can pretty safely bet that between now and then you're going to be keeping us updated in your writings and on the Weather Network, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll have my summer sky watching article coming out soon, probably within the next week or so, and I'll include details in there, and then I'll update people throughout the season.
Yeah, so
on what's going on.
Go to the Weather Network site, or you can actually Google Scott Sutherland himself, and all that stuff pops up, right?
Yeah.
It's very cool. Now, I also learned today, thanks for clarifying that, because there are going to be a lot of people, unless they watch this program, and I don't know who doesn't, but there are probably some, that are going to be pretty disappointed on June 3rd. Because because as you mentioned in your article, there's been all this hype that, and the event itself isn't really going to live up to the hype.
It doesn't seem like it. No. Like the only way maybe is if you're much higher up. Like I don't know if somebody's out in southern British Columbia, up on the top of a mountain, then they might be able to see those objects rise a little bit earlier than the rest of us down lower and closer to sea level. But it's just going to be, the sky's just going to be too bright. The
other thing that I heard about today before we say so long is the fact that the Weather Network came out with its summer forecast today. I know you're not the driving force behind that, but that's also up for folks to see on the Weather Network apparently.
Indeed.
And just as a macro impression, we're going to have kind of a hot and steamy summer this year, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, it's definitely looking that way. Yeah. So I don't know.
It wouldn't be unusual. It wouldn't be unusual for Niagara, that's for sure.
No, that's absolutely sure. Yeah.
Scott, thank you so much again. And I just reached out to Scott yesterday because I thought I've kind of let this one slide, and so I got in touch with Scott and I said, "Is this a thing?" Because a lot of times you see stuff. And you don't know, is it a thing? Is it not a thing? And actually, before I do let you go, let me ask you, as far as astronomers are concerned and science writers and things, is it a thing? Or is it just a kind of a common, every ordinary day kind of deal?
Well, these alignments are pretty cool to see. I mean, it's the way the Earth goes around the sun along with the other planets. It's not commonplace that you'll see several bright planets all lined up on one side of the sun like that. So I think those are pretty cool. I mean, I try to focus on things that people can see without having to need special equipment
to work too hard
or whatever. Yeah, if you just go outside at a certain time of night, or then you'll be able to see these objects in the
But
sky.
we don't have any crazy predictions. Like it's not a Nostradamus thing or anything. It's just a thing.
No. If anybody is making that out of it, then no,
All right.
they're off base. They're way off base.
Scott Sutherland, science writer, meteorologist, the Weather Network. Always a pleasure. Always great
Same
to
here.
see you. Have yourself a
You too.
great week. What's left of it. We'll talk soon, I'm sure.
Yeah. Thanks, Lee. Thanks, Kevin. Take it easy, both of you.
See you, Scotty. Bye.
Now, Lee, that's great stuff there
It is.
from Scott. Going right to the so now, he was talking in those images. I should let you know that what they did is they kind of dimmed out the stars in the background, and they also blew up a lot of the planets.
Yeah.
But what I did not hear Scott reference was the telescope required to see Uranus on that morning, and I'm not sure, Lee, if you've considered it. I don't know do I need special equipment, or do I just have to come to the circle where you live?
I'm not going to even gratify that with a response, considering the fact that it's pronounced Uranus, but we'll gloss over.
I should have asked Scott when we had him on because he would know.
He would know. We'll gloss over that. Gales Gaspars, thank you for fueling this program for the last 5+ seasons. We call this season 5, but we've been actually going for a little longer than that. We just started putting labels on it about 5 seasons ago, and this is episode 12 for all of your petroleum needs, be it gasoline for your cars, fuel oil for your furnace, or oil for your gasoline, colored and otherwise, diesel for your equipment, farm equipment, and motorized tools, etc. They do it all here in Niagara. Gales.ca is the place to go for that. Sandra's Home Healthcare, we thank you very much for being here as well and playing a huge role in the program. And this is about the third or fourth show that Sandra's Home Healthcare Services have been part of us, and it's innovative health. It says innovative healthcare there, and a lot of people can use that word, but it's a very special kind of care. They match their caregivers with their clients. They have an office, their head office. They're located right in the St. Catharines location of Niagara Health Services, so they can provide from hospital to home care very, very painlessly and easy peasy. Dementia support, pediatric home care, acquired brain injury, post-operative and accident care, and very specialized. If you require that, they can provide it. Thank you to Sandra, and there is a Sandra, by the way. We know her. She's a real person. Sandra's Home Healthcare. Thanks for being here. Virgin Insurance Brokers Limited, Mark Shirk, Blake, and staff. Thank you for also supporting the program. Auto, home, business, life insurance, whatever you need, they can find it for you at the best price for your specific needs. ACE alignment, wheel alignments and brakes and suspension and front end repairs and oil changes and inspections and whatever your vehicle needs. Darren Miller and Matt Crompton are the two guys. Darren's the head mechanic, Matt's the senior mechanic, and they know their stuff. Just over on North Street in St. Catharines, just off Geneva, right behind the newish Niagara Regional Police Services station there. And of course, Equal Wellness Services, Audrey Wall, the foot nurse, providing all kinds of whatever you need as far as foot care, of course, but other services as well. And also looking to add, she is the proprietor of a brand newly renovated medical health care office, if you will, in a plaza, 365 Vine Street, and it's sort of a health-oriented plaza. The whole thing is health-oriented, and she has space now that is ready, willing, and able to accept reflexologists or naturopaths, homeopaths, dermatologists, those sort of natural health care type services. She has two clinic rooms available now for rent, if you will, for lease, that's a better word, as well as reception services and all sorts of things. So if you fall into that category and know someone who does, that is looking for a really cool, nice, bright new location, check out Equal Wellness Services at 365 Vine Street. With us on the line right now We talked about this gentleman off the top of the program. Boxer James Hughes is joining us here on the program. James, how are you? Welcome. Oh, you might be muted there, James.
Hey, can you hear me now?
I think we have you now, yes.
Okay, thank you so much for having me, Lee. You're looking sharp today.
Oh, thank you very much. You're not so bad yourself, but I have to say that or you'll beat me up. So, Bad News Hughes, is that Hughes?
That's correct.
That's you, Bad News Hughes. So,
Yes.
tell us a little bit about yourself, James. This is the first time we've had a chance to talk with you. Where are you from? What's the boxing background? Who is James Hughes?
So I'm a St. Catharines local. I'm born and raised in St. Catharines. I boxed my whole amateur career at the St. Catharines Boxing Club, just on Niagara Street there. I had it was about 60 amateur fights. I started when I was 14. I'm 23 now, so I'm going at it almost 10 years. 60 amateur fights. I'm 1-0 as a professional. This is my first fight in 2 years. I had a little delay. I had some injuries, and we're looking to go 2-0 as a professional on Saturday night.
Wow, that's a lot of fights as an amateur. How are your amateur numbers, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't know exactly. I would have to look at my books, but I believe it was something in the realm of 10 or 11 losses, maybe 47 wins, something like that.
Well, that's not
47 wins.
That's not a bad balance.
Losses. Yeah, I'll take that. I mean, ever since I was a kid, right? So I'll take that.
So, James, in these days where young people, martial arts fighters and others, are involved in this world of pugilism, I guess, if you want to call it that. So many people tend to gravitate toward the UFC type or mixed martial arts or whatever. Why boxing for you all these years?
I don't know. I had I'm not going to say I didn't have a choice, but I had older brothers that boxed. I had older cousins that boxed. I was just always around boxing. I was always going to the local fighting events, the local gym, just when I was bored, it was always boxing around me. I'm sure if they were into something else, MMA, I would have followed in their footsteps, but I was just kind of born into it, didn't really have a choice, just seeing the older people around me boxing, so I just kind of followed in their footsteps.
And your professional career, you're 1-0, but your professional career started when?
2022 of June.
Okay. And is there a banner or an association or something, pardon my ignorance on this level, that you fight under? Is there a league, or what do you call it?
So in boxing, right now I'm just under a promoter is the way it works. So
okay.
My whole amateur career would have been with St. Catharines Boxing Club. I would have traveled all over fighting in the nationals, the provincials and whatnot. And I am just under a promoter. His name is Lee Baxter Promotions. He'll be putting the show on this weekend.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the way it works. I'm just under a promoter right now, and then try to build my record up from there.
Is it the promoter that lines up the fights for you? Do you have any say in who you fight, or how does that work?
Correct. He lines up the fights. I don't really have a say. I just kind of, I'm still new to the pro game, so I just kind of say, yep, give them to me kind of thing. I don't really have a choice.
James, let me ask you a question here. Saturday night, is that the same card? Is our man from the Falls, Lucas Body, on that card too?
Yes, he's the main event. I'm on his undercard.
Oh, man, because we've been tracking him. We've had him as a guest on the program, and hopefully your career's charting in the same direction. What weight class do you fight in?
I fight at middleweight, so that would be the 158 marker. There's a catch weight for this fight. I'll be weighing in at 160. Yeah, middleweight.
You weigh 160 pounds? You don't look it. To me.
Yes, they're 160 pounds.
I guess that's
more or less.
I guess that's because it's all muscle.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So now the fight happens. Give us the details. Fight happens when and where?
This fight happens this Saturday, June the 1st, in the Niagara Falls at the Convention Center. Doors will be opening at 6 p.m. and there are 6 bouts in total. So I would say get there early, get your seat, and just enjoy a good night of fighting.
And when do you? At what point on the card are you?
I'm fight 3 of 6.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So my first debut, my first night, I was the first fight. Obviously, it usually goes in a seniority kind of thing, but I've been kind of bumped up to third fight this time. So.
Who are you fighting?
I would butcher his name. I don't know. He's from Poland.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I don't know his name exactly. You can see online.
Kevin, you were going to say something.
I was going to say the correct answer is the loser. Right? I mean, that's what we'll be referencing him on Sunday.
I'm fighting the loser. Very good. Okay. All right. I guess I
like that.
I should have thought of that one. Now, obviously, behind every person in your situation, there is a team. You don't do it all on your own. I just thought I'd give you a chance, perhaps, if you wanted to acknowledge some of the members of your team, be it your trainers or your sparring buddies or whoever it is that you might want to acknowledge while you're here.
Of course, yeah, I appreciate that. We got Joe Corrigan, who runs the whole show. He owns the club, the gym, and we got John, Paul Zara, Ray Riley, Bruce. They're all just great guys behind the scene, helping me train, just whatever I need. Those are all my coaches. So we got a big team. Everything works smoothly. And then, yeah, all the guys at the gym helping me spar. I've sparred a lot with Dylan Mazanoff. Shout out to him. Shout out to all my training partners. My family's been very good too. Just everyone's been good. There's a big team.
Yeah.
You see the face, but there's a lot of people behind me helping. So yeah, I appreciate that.
That's why I wanted to bring it up.
James, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
And I think, Lee, you kind of alluded to this, popularity of MMA, but also, a growing culture around brain injury. And I don't know that boxing is the first thing that parents say, hey, I want to point my kid in that direction. So as a youngster growing up in St. Catharines, how did you make your way into the boxing gym, and how did you find a support staff behind you to bring you to this point?
In terms of like all the head injuries and stuff, or just in
no,
general?
it's just you know what I mean. How does a kid get involved in boxing in St. Catharines? There might be somebody watching right now that is thinking about it, but the parents might be reluctant or what have you.
All right, of course, yeah. I like I said, I had older brothers that boxed before me, and I just kind of followed in their footsteps. So I would always see the gym as like a happy place or a safe place. I would love to go when I was a kid, and just all the older guys were really supportive, and everyone just has such a love and passion for boxing, right? So you kind of crave to go back. And if I was speaking to a parent, it's awesome for discipline. You make great friends for life. You know how to protect yourself, and you don't have to compete. You can go there to make friends and just work out and train. So I don't know. I would just say, sorry.
No, that's all right. To go to Kevin's point, though, with head injuries and brain injuries, etc., in all sports, being sort of front and center in the discussion today, do you ever think about it? Number one, that's the first part of the question, and number two is, are there health protocols or checkups, etc., that you go through on a regular basis to make sure that you're cleared to fight, so to speak?
Of course, yeah. Well, in the sport of boxing, you have to think about it. You can't just have a blind eye to it. I think that would be really silly, right? You're getting hit in the head. And my whole amateur career, they were really good at, they would put you through these tests, these doctors with, I forget the exact name, but they were just concussion protocol tests.
Yeah,
they were always checking up on
testing.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And they would always check up on each and every fighter. I personally never have suffered anything. No injuries to the head. But I know if I did, there were people there around me. There were people that had your back, kind of thing, that they were looking out for these things.
That's
and in the
good to
pro
know.
game, yeah, of course. And in the pro game, there's just numbers and numbers and numbers of tests you got to run through. They scan your eyes, they scan your head. They wouldn't put anyone in there if they knew something was up. So I think especially in this day and age, maybe back in the day I've heard some stories, but in this day and age they're very careful, and they take the proper steps to make sure you're all right.
That's good to know. Good to know. Now, do you have any one specific person that is a trainer, or your corner man, or something like that, like Burgess Meredith was for Rocky, like that?
I don't have a one guy. I'm really lucky to have a team. This fight in my corner, I'm going to have John Robertson and Joe Corrigan, and they've been in my corner for probably 95% of my fights, so I'm lucky to have them.
All right. Well, I don't know what you're supposed to say to a boxer. I don't know whether you say good luck. I know you don't say break a leg like they do in the theater, but whatever best wishes that we can pass on for Saturday, by all means, I hope you come out on top.
Awesome. All right. Thanks so much for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Take care, mate.
Take care. Bye-bye.
James Bad News Hughes, ladies and gentlemen. 1-0, going to go for 2-0 this Saturday in Niagara Falls. So many accomplished people that sort of sail under the radar, Kevin, in Niagara, and it's a real pleasure to be able to drag these people from under the radar into the spotlight and shine a light on them.
Yeah, very much so. Seems like an astute young gentleman. I wish him the best of luck Saturday night.
Well-spoken young man, and it's always good to know, and I'm glad you started to bring that up because I was going to go there eventually, but as far as that sort of cloud that hangs over professional fighting, be it MMA, be it whatever, judo, karate, boxing, that people are always concerned about it these days, as they should be. So that's great. So James Hughes, good luck. It's kind of fun. I don't know if how many people have ever been to live boxing matches or a live boxing card. I have back in the day, not for a long time, but many years ago. And boy, if you're up close and personal to the ring, and it doesn't matter at what level, be they heavyweights, medium weights, welterweights, whatever they are, middleweights as James is. When you're up close to any professional sport, and this one included, and almost in particular, you feel it. You can, just by watching and experiencing being close up and personal with one of those events, you feel it. Sometimes you feel the perspiration fly off, and it's quite an amazing thing to watch. Two very, very specifically trained athletes in the ring, gladiators, if you will, which is kind of, I guess, where this whole thing came from back in the day. It's something to see. It's not for everybody, but it's definitely a show.
Lee, we got a couple of stories to get to. We are going to talk to a Paralympian. She's going to Paris. Is a swimmer from Port Colborne.
Emma Van Dyke. I hope I'm pronouncing Emma's last name correctly.
This story caught my interest on Niagara 411, and we reached out, and Lee, I don't know that we shortlisted it, but the story of the lady that used the power of Niagara 411 to find her long-lost brothers.
Yeah, you and I talked about this, I don't know, a week ago or whatever, and then we didn't chat about it today, but it was something that we both felt was worthy of mention. I want to thank you for putting up my post. This was a note to Niagara 411, Nick. Again, thanks for sharing your content and your viewers and contributors with us. I want to thank you, Nick, for putting up my post last week, searching for Richard Hott. I'm hoping that's how we pronounce it. He's my biological father, and I had been searching for him and my two half-brothers as I was put up for adoption at birth. Within minutes of you sharing my request, people started texting and calling my brothers. We made contact, and tonight I met my two older brothers for the first time in 59 years. Thank you for all you do. I'm so grateful that you read and read my email. And there she is, with her brothers, and that's pretty cool. And that is, I guess, a shining example of what Niagara 411 can do and how we try to complement all of those connections here on Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry. So congratulations to the Niagara 411 family for helping to make that happen. And that's pretty cool.
Lee, the story goes a little deeper. Just so you know, I did reach out to Barb to see if she wanted to come on the show, but said, no, this is what I was looking for.
Okay.
But if you follow, she's in the comments here. So, went over to Barb's page, only to find out that...
Okay.
Let's see what we get here. And I mean, look at this follow-up to the story.
All right. So as if finding and meeting my two brothers wasn't enough excitement for one weekend, I was contacted by a woman who said she is my first cousin, Kathy. Okay, that in itself is crazy, but the best part is that I already knew her and her husband, Shane. Isn't that cool? For the past several years, every Sunday morning, they have come to the Queen's Coach for breakfast, and countless times I was their server. I just can't believe the power of social media, excuse me, but also the coincidences of our lives. It really is a small world. So meet my cousin, Kathy. Hi, Kathy. And Barb. That has to be sort of a liberating experience for someone. I've never had to be in that situation, but many have. And to Barb Flanagan, congratulations. You must just feel light as air when things like that happen. That's because you just have you've got a whole new family. You've got a whole new existence to be a part of, which is truly amazing.
Yeah. Lee, that shut down the QEW on Friday around 3:30 in the afternoon, Toronto bound.
Yeah.
And boy, oh boy, I mean, it was a tragedy. There was a life lost, and it was, I cannot describe it as anything more as just a bizarre. It was a bizarre sequence of events.
It's one of the, it was a domino sort of effect where a wheel flew off a vehicle. Now, how this happens, how this particular one happened, they don't know. Why it happened, don't know. But nevertheless, it did. A wheel flies off, and that was the original post there. QEW Toronto bound at Glendale, closed for a police investigation. And now the events, Kevin, the sequence of events on this were what? Now it flew off a, what was it, a van? That it
so it
came
flew off
and
of
then hit a car, and then that bounced off onto another
So
vehicle.
if you can imagine it, there's a passenger van.
Yes.
Just a regular
van,
minivan.
a minivan.
And with New York plates.
Right.
And it was traveling into St. Catharines. So on the downside of the QEW, coming into St. Catharines.
From Toronto.
From Fort Erie.
From Fort Erie. Toronto bound, of course.
Yeah, so Toronto bound.
Right.
So it's coming down the slope into St. Catharines when the front driver's side tire.
Driver's side tire. The whole wheel or the tire?
The whole tire comes off. Now, I don't know whether it was the rim and everything else. I think it's just the wheel. The wheel flies off, probably with the rim. I don't know. And it ends up bouncing over the median and into Fort Erie bound traffic.
Yeah, okay.
Where it strikes a pickup truck.
Right.
And the pickup truck sustains some damage, but that then ricochets the tire back across the median, back into St. Catharines bound traffic, where it smashes through the window of one of those big coach buses and very tragically kills one of the passengers.
Yes, and one of the bus passengers is killed. It's like a pinball. In a pinball machine, this tire bouncing back and forth across it was
crazy. Like crazy sequence of events.
And I'm sure it must have, to have that kind of weight behind it. It must have been the wheel, not just the tire. I mean, because a rubber tire would split.
That's a good point.
Roll off. So it had to be something heavy enough, which would mean the wheel, including the rim, like etc., would come off. And one wonders how this can happen, and it obviously speaks to proper maintenance of vehicles, because I know whenever I have my spring tires changed to winter or whatever, and people now often don't just take the tires off the rims, they actually replace the rims every season, etc. And the garage also always tells you to come back within 5 days or whatever it is, and make sure that the nuts, the lug nuts, are torqued to make sure that they're tight and properly fastened. Now, was it a mechanical kind of a failure? Was it the lack of
borrowing some
maintenance?
imagery here from CHCH, but I mean, there's some helicopter footage of the coach bus, and there you go. There's the van.
Yeah, and so like the wheel is off that thing. Astounding.
I mean,
And-
you never know. Right?
And you talk about, people talk about all the time the luck or bad luck of the draw, being in the right place or the wrong place at the right time or the wrong time, and you just wonder how could that possibly happen, that you're just happen to be in the right seat on that bus at that time when that wheel goes back and forth across a major highway and your number is up. How unbelievably sad and worthy of thought is that? You know, people say, well, when your time's up, your time's up. Wow. Still hard to, so condolences to all of the families that were affected by that terrible thing. A young lady from Port Colborne has just qualified to be part of the 2024 Paralympics Summer Games in France. Her name is Emma. She joins us now, and I want to say hi. Hi, Emma. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Now, I want to say Van Dyke. Is that the right way to pronounce your name?
Yep.
So I got it right. Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
You must still be pretty excited.
Oh yeah, I'm still pretty in shock, but it still feels unreal, but...
Now, when I was reading your story, apparently you were competing over a number of days in a number of different events. Is that how this whole qualification thing came about?
Yeah, so I was competing for about 8 days in Toronto at the Olympic and Paralympic trials. But I was only swimming 4 events, and one of the events was on the second last day, which was my qualifying event to make the Paralympics this summer.
And you were, it was the backstroke that you nailed, is that correct?
Yeah.
So is that, how does it work now when you go to the Olympics? What is the next step? What happens between now and when the Olympics start?
Now I'm just getting back into training after a week off to let my body recover. But it's just hard training, lots of hours in the pool and hours in the gym leading up to the Paralympics. And then once I'm there, we have like a few weeks at like a staging camp, and then it gets to a long 10 days of racing.
Yes. So now, when the games begin, when your competing begins, will you be swimming in different, like all the different events, or one or two, or how does that work?
So how it works is I only qualified to race the 100 backstroke at the Paralympics, so
Okay.
I'll only be racing that event at the Paralympics.
Okay.
But like I still have to be at the pool to train and to cheer on my teammates who are also swimming in a variety of different events.
Are you looking forward to being in France?
Yeah, I am actually. I've never been.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to see what's around the atmosphere.
Now, how long have you? Where have you been swimming? Where did your swimming career start?
Well, my swimming career started at a summer swim club here in Fonthill when I was about 7 years old. But then after that, I moved to Brock, where I am still currently training right now. And I've been training with them, and overall, like training at Brock's been like a huge part of my life, with the team, the coaches, just the whole Brock atmosphere, everybody supporting to where I have been today.
So, are you a student at Brock, or is that just where you do your training?
No, I'm actually homeschooled, so I just do my training at Brock.
Okay, and your coach is David Ling, correct?
Yes.
And we talked with him, or Kevin talked with him a few days ago. He sings your praises, and he's pretty darn proud of you.
Yeah, everybody, my teammates, my group that I train with, everyone's just very proud that I succeeded to where I wanted to be. Like, this has been my dream my entire life, so they've all helped me get to this dream. So I'm very proud to actually have them all behind me on this.
What is a typical day in the life of an athlete such as yourself in the pool when you talk about training? What is a typical training day for you?
So a typical training day is usually I train twice a day. So I wake up at, say, 4:30 in the morning to get to practice for 5:30 in the morning. Then I train from 5:30 in the morning to 7:30 in the morning. And I go home, do some family work, do some work, nap, and I get back in the car for practice to go to practice at 3:30. Then I swim practice from 3:30 to 6 in the evening. And then after swim practice, I have a whole hour training session with the Brock Sports Performance Center at the school as well.
So, what are they training you to do? Is it technique? Is it breathing? Is it timing? Or all of that stuff?
So it's all of that, but mainly like our practices are working on our technique, because how it works is if you don't have the proper technique, you can't go as fast as you are wanting to. So we work on technique, we have working on underwater work with our breathing so that we are farther underwater, because actually you move faster underwater. So we work our breathing off the walls, but mainly we do a lot of technical stuff, a lot of drills. So there'll be certain practices where we have drills and technical stuff, and then there's certain practices where we do speed and fast stuff.
All right, now you're talking about being underwater, and I get the fact that you can travel faster under than breaking the surface, but your forte is the backstroke.
Yeah.
Do you go underwater doing the backstroke?
Yeah, so basically how you do it is you're starting on the wall, but instead of being like going forwards, you're just on your back. And then as you're on your back, you're kicking underwater on your back. And then once you're going to take the turn for, let's say, the second lap of 100, which I do, then you have to know your strategies of looking at the ceiling to see, like, if you're in a straight line, when you get to the flags, you have to know your count strokes to turn.
Yeah.
So you're on your back, but then you have to flip turn onto your front to flip turn to plant your feet on the wall, and then you push back off and do underwater dolphin kicks on your back again to break the surface.
And those turns are pretty crucial, aren't they?
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, you can lose a lot of time if you're not turning properly, right?
Yeah, if you don't, like, I have trouble myself doing this, but I'm working on it. If you don't turn fast enough, like, that could add at least 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds off of your time.
Yeah. It's fascinating. I used to, although I might not look like it today, but I used to swim a lot, and it's quite a sport to enjoy. I don't know that I would have ever liked getting into a pool at 5:30 in the morning, though.
Oh no, it's not fun.
There's just something about 5:30 in the morning in a pool that just it kind of goes against the grain a little bit. But once you get in, as they say, once you get in, the water's fine, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Hey,
So
Lee, it's and Emma, it's Kevin here in the background. I don't know, you can't see me, but boy, talk about a quintessential Niagara girl. Just
Amazing.
reading through some of your bio, and you spent some time, I guess, working in the summers at Fort George.
Yes.
Talk about that. I mean, let's just go outside of the pool, because so many people work in kind of the tourism industry. But what did you do at Fort George, and how did you like that?
I worked there for about 2 summers. I actually really loved it. We did, so what my part was playing in the band. So I played in the band to, like, lead off the people off to war. So, like, I was like a reenactor. So
Okay.
I would reenact I'd be playing the fife, which is kind of like a flute.
yeah.
But you have to use your fingers, not buttons, for the flute. So basically what we did is we'd always go to, like, 40-degree siege, and we'd, like, reenact the entire war. So we'd wear the outfits, and then we'd march the artillery and the soldiers out onto the warfield, and then we would pretend to, like, run around, and then, like, at times you could, like, if you wanted to, like, stop running, then, like, you would tell them that you're gonna die, and then we fall on the ground, and we basically just lay there.
You're now a dead soldier.
Now you're now a dead soldier until the battle's over.
Right. So do you actually played the fife yourself?
Yeah.
Do you still do that?
No, I'm too busy with swimming now, so
I guess.
I don't have time to do it. But like,
Yeah.
I'm always training, so
Well, they always referred to it as the fife and drum band, right?
yeah.
That's cool. So what dates are you actually in France? When do you leave? When do you get back?
I actually leave August 13th to fly out to Vichy, France for a training camp until the 24th. And then from Vichy, I fly or take a train, wherever we do, from Vichy to France, and then from the 24th to the 28th. Competition starts on the 28th. My event, I race on the September 6th, and then we fly back September 9th.
All right. Well, we'll definitely be following you. That I can absolutely guarantee. And what pool do you? And you mentioned you're in Font Hill now, but you're originally from Port Colborne, I understand?
Yes. So I'm still living in Port Colborne. I'm actually training out of Brock University in St. Catharines, Ontario right now. Yep.
I knew that, but I guess I had to confirm it. All right. So listen, Emma, thank you so much for being here. We're so proud of you.
Thank you.
We're so happy to have you representing Niagara at the 2024 Summer Games, and we wish you Godspeed and all the best in the world. Bring home the gold.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care now.
You as well.
Bye.
Bye.
Lovely young lady. Again, one of Niagara's previously unsung heroes. It sort of swims under the radar, as they say. Great show today. Chris Dabrowski from Niagara Falls Comic-Con. Thank you very much for being here. June 7th to 9th at the Niagara Falls Convention Center. All you have to do is Google that, and you can find all of the dates and rates, etc. And it's on Niagara 411 as well. Scott Sutherland, science writer and meteorologist with the Weather Network, talking about the planet parade that nobody will be able to see, but maybe you will be able to see it by about the 15th. If you missed that interview, check it out when we post the show and/or do an In Case You Missed It program, and check out his blog and his writing on the Weather Network site as well. James Hughes, Bad News Hughes, fighting to go 2-0 as a professional boxer, fights this Saturday night also in Niagara Falls. So we wish James all the luck in the world. He's a St. Catharines native, St. Catharines trainer, St. Catharines boxer and resident, and fighting his second professional fight in Niagara Falls this Saturday. And of course, Emma Van Dyke, our Paralympian swimmer, what a lovely young lady. She'll be participating starting at the end of August in the 2024 Summer Paralympic Games. Awesome. Kevin Jack, before we run by our sponsors one more time and talk about our upcoming musical guest, what's going on with WeeStream these days? Any other than staying up very late at Niagara Falls City Council meetings?
Very early into the morning, 1:34 a.m. officially Niagara Falls Council.
How can council meetings last that long?
This morning, they just do. Lee, they just do. One interesting thing, we're very happy to be partnering with the city of Port Colborne to be streaming their media launch day for Canal Days. And, big Canal Days festival every year. And, we encourage more and more municipalities and private business to leverage live streaming to meet a larger audience. So if you are going to have a media event, this is one thing I say. If you are ever about to stand in front of a podium, think to yourself, should this be live streamed? And I would say 75% of the time, the answer should be yes. But looking forward to do that, and that's coming up in a couple of weeks. We're going to be going up to Midland to help a non-profit organization, the Denturists Association of Ontario.
The which?
Denturists. The people that make your dentures.
Okay.
And they'll be congregating in Midland for their annual general meeting. So we help out a lot of nonprofits when they have to do AGMs where they're looking for the hybrid element.
Right.
So we need to make sure that we include our entire body, everybody with voting rights, but they can't all make it to Midland. So what can we do? You bring in a company like WeeStream, and we very affordably turn your meeting into a hybrid meeting, so that people off-site have the same opportunities as those on-site. So we'll be in Midland there in a couple of weeks, and shortly upon my return, we'll be down in Port Colborne to let you know all the bands and all the great things that are coming in for Canal Days.
Awesome. Thanks, Kevin, and great work you do. And as we were talking about earlier with Chris Dabrowski, you don't necessarily have to have people face to face to be at your event or be at your function or whatever. As per the eclipse, maybe 300,000 people showed up in Niagara Falls. However, it is estimated that because of social media coverage and streaming and all of those other things that go with modern communications of today, Niagara Falls and the region received probably over $2 billion in unpaid advertising. That is an amazing stat to keep in mind. Also, yeah.
I just got to say, if we're looking out at our live shot there, what was that guy looking at? Boy, oh boy.
I don't know. I didn't see him.
It was our buddy Wayne.
Oh!
He just probably didn't know that he was on camera, so
No.
I was gonna poke fun at friend of the show, Wayne, who was looking down on his shoes live on camera.
And if you know anybody or yourself that requires commercial radio, television, movie, books, narrated voices, etc., that's what I do. And you can check out what I do at leesterry.com. I'd appreciate a visit and a note if you want to.
And look at Leon sliding in there for some free advertising.
Hey, why not?
Actually, they do support Niagara 411, and they leverage that for all of their big sales now.
Yes. Yeah. So, coming up right now to, as they say, play us off the stage, Haler Verrill, or Verrill. Haley. I'm sorry. Why did I say Haler? Haley. I knew it was Haley. I know. Haley, I'm sorry. Haley Verrill. I'm not, again, if she were here, I'd ask her to be very specific about how I pronounce her name. Haley Verrill, and she is going to be performing Late Bloomer for you right here. Thank you for joining us for Season 5 and Episode 12 of Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry from Fiddler's Poorhouse. Thanks again for Fiddlers, to Fiddlers for letting us come in. Gales and Verge and Ace Alignment and Equal Wellness and Sandra's Home Healthcare, thank you very, very much for being a part of the show. See ya.
Was hard fitting in. There's some things you can't see when you're lost inside your head. Like the sunrise in the morning, the stars when you go to bed. If you're gonna put a label on it, well, this is who I am. I'm a late bloomer. It took me a little more time. Nothing comes for free if you're anything like me. You're a late bloomer. But time on earth is short, so give it all you got. Don't be afraid, say anything you want. Spend your for free if you're anything like me. You're a late bloomer. Oh. It ain't easy taking longer. What doesn't break you makes you strong. I'm a